Good morning, Mike the MC, bringing another self-care video. Today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite books today that I've read before about Blessed Maria Goretti, wife, mother, and mystic. And the translation by Reverend Stephen Rigby. I'll share this book with you in the description. Basically, she was a very famous mystic in the church that her writings are starting to help people who read her books and writings in life, just on spiritual direction and how to stay focused on what we got to do. And I'm going to share with you one point from that book on how to keep that direction, but also to help you in your life, wherever you are, to be strong and persevere in what you feel you need to do and what is the right call that you got to do with regard to all the pressures we face in life. So let's get this topic started. So this is taken from that book I shared with you about Blessed Maria Goretti, wife, mother, and mystic, about how people may fall into the danger of losing their direction. So this is what our Lord told her in one of the prayers. Remember, daughter, what I have told so often to you, namely that men are like the weathercocks that spin on the housetops. If my grace did not preserve them, they would turn with every change of the wind. Later he mentions to her, remember that if a soul tries to fly from the cross I have given him, I promptly load him with a much heavier one. And so that's the remedy to what the first point of the message she told her. But the first point, what he's alluding to with Blessed Maria Goretti is, how often do we as people get swayed by pressures in life, influences? This could be money, politics, sports teams, influence in the community, so many different factors that sway us from our direction, that we were doing something, maybe that was a good project. Maybe we were trying to build a new school, start a new business, trying to help a friend or a family, but somehow that idea got changed to satisfy someone else's desire, someone else's idea, their dream. And I could just think of many sports references where, okay, you're not playing your game, you're playing somebody else's. They got you in the bag, and now you are losing all your energy to that person. And like I've mentioned in this channel before with counseling, like even with narcissists, when you lose your energy to a narcissist and you're just giving them all your energy and you just have nothing in return because you have lost everything, how are you going to stay focused on your goals if you've just given everything away? And that's what our Lord is saying with that remedy, that if you have lost the cross or you're trying to get rid of it, I will give you a much heavier one, so that way you are firm to the ground and you cannot go anywhere because you're stuck to that cross now, because it's now really heavy. And now you got to pick it up with some help from our Lord, from other people that are focused on that same goal. And when you think about that, okay, if you strayed in life, if you decided, okay, I'm not going to get that degree anymore, I just want to go out and party, I want to go and just party with friends, do whatever, and not be focused anymore, not study for my exams, not get that next certification, not go for that next program or required hours of service, so that way I stay on top of my training as a boss of a company, etc. If I don't do all those obligations, how will that interact with everybody beneath that serves and works with my agency? How will that affect the rest of the company, the rest of the people, my family even? And if the head of the household, of the agency, etc., is influenced negatively, then I would argue that everybody else is going to be affected negatively. And because you're following a message and you're spreading that message to the people who follow you. And so everyone else is all like, oh no, we're caught in the wind, we are drawn in this direction. And that's what that first point is. When our Lord says, different word, basically the weather top of a house. But I just shared with you that what the original text to her, but when that weather top is just spinning in the wind, northeast, southwest, and the wind, however its influences are in the society in the day. So with the social media, okay, everyone's following politics, everyone's following sports, everyone's following, oh, who's right, who's wrong. See, that's one form of the wind that sways people in one direction. But then think about locally as well. In your church, in your schools, how are the teachers influencing the kids today? How are the teachers being influenced themselves by the books they read? And so you got to be very diligent on what you take in with your mind, with your heart, what you hear and listen to, and really discern what is correct and not correct, but what is also the right thing to do with respect to loving other people and taking care of people in your life and your family, friends. And so that is the challenge. Okay, are we willing to go against the wind even? I'll put that challenge for everybody. When all the wind is pushing to the east, are you going to come from the west and try to drive that weather top the other direction with what you know is right? And then how are you going to do that? Because if you are just the one person against the thousands, okay, how are you going to gain an audience, an influence? How are you going to get people to believe in your message? And so some people say, oh, well, why don't you advocate through YouTube? Okay, that's one direction. Or through Facebook or through any of the other social medias, TikTok. And other people I know will protest when they just go in the streets and they just lie on the ground and do things that people don't normally do, going against what people normally do. It's like, what are you doing there on the ground? But you're getting people to think. And that is one way to drive the direction in another position, because you're getting people to consider, oh, I never thought of that before. You mentioned that idea in the business meeting. You did that in public. I never thought of that. That's interesting. But now, this is where you got to discern. Are you doing it for the right cause? That's the thing. Are you doing it for the right cause? Just keep that in mind. If it's a selfish reason, more than likely, it'll falter. It'll divide itself, and then you yourself will fall down. And so the idea is discerning, what is the cross that the Lord wants me to carry? What is the heavy cross I'm going to carry now that He's given me, so that way I stay in the right direction, the right cause in life. Carry this cross with other people to the right place to help people as best I can. That is some important discernment. But that is why with Maria Guidetti, why I like her so much in her book, I'll share more points later on in this channel, that with that spiritual direction, listening to a greater cause, our Lord, or whatever faith you follow, what is the right cause that is to protect people in the community? I truly believe human society should strive for working together in peace. That's my belief, my personal cause. So what is your why, and how are you going to fulfill that with the people around you? And so great comments to consider from me this morning, from you, Mike the MC, on Tuesday. Just thoughts to consider with this book. And I'll dive more into this book with more topics. And I think it's just a great start for me on this channel with her book as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider the great ideas. What is your cross you're going to carry? How are you going to help other people? And how are you going to stay in that direction that you know is right? Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.